I call the honourable member Sam Lotu-Iiga.
Thank you, Mr Chair, and thank you. It's a pleasure to take a call on the committee stage of this gambling harm reduction bill, sir. And may I also join my parliamentary colleagues in acknowledging Te Roro Flavel for the work that he did on this bill, certainly working with the government to put in place measures for harm reduction, sir. And I just want to acknowledge the hard work that he did. We heard a number of submissions on this bill. Certainly the government have taken up a number of the recommendations and certainly some of the submissions to reduce harm. As I said in my second reading speech, sir, this is a legally permitted activity. It might be an activity that some of us or many of us in this country disagree with. However, it is about harm minimisation, it is about reducing harm, reducing access, but also education. And not one member across the aisle there talked about education and about allowing those people with problems to get access to resources which will allow them to do away with their addiction and do away with their problem gambling. Sir, to address the SOPs which have been tabled tonight, and I had a first view of them tonight, although I was invited by Mr Mallard on Twitter to consider the SOPs, it would be nice to pick up the phone, sir, and call us if you want us to have a discussion about these bills. But I did read these tonight on entering the House. And SOP 292 talks about not having any transfers to higher deprivation areas. And sir, the Select Committee changed this already and says that councils need to have, and I quote, regard to the social impact of gambling in high deprivation communities when developing venue transfer policies, sir. So this SOP is superfluous. It's superfluous because it has already been taken into account in the deliberations of the committee. And sir, it would also, and Mr Mallard should think about this, it will also preclude Class 4 venue licences from being transferred from less desirable suburban areas into CBDs and commercial areas, and some of them tend to have high deprivation indices. So sir, I turn now to SOPs. There's three of them actually that deal with the distribution of proceeds within regional council areas, within local territorial authorities. Ian Lees-Galloway tabled SOP 293, Ruth Dyson tabled SOP 294, and Dr Rajan Prasad tabled SOP 295. And again, I say to members opposite that the bill, as amended by the Select Committee, already enables regulations to be developed to this effect. And Mr Mallard knows this. And while I hear you, Mr Mallard, but I have been consistent in this House in saying that I would prefer that laws be passed in primary legislation, but only to the extent that a better law or a better set of regulations can be promulgated in a consultation process, which is what the bill develops and what it states. So it already enables regulations to be developed to this effect. It's important that these are flexible and they're not set through legislation. And Mallard knows this. Mr Mallard knows this. And I add that the SOPs only say in the same regional council or territorial authority district. And the same as what? What happens, sir, when an organisation or a society has machines in different areas? How do you distribute those funds? Is it pro rata? Are they calculated? No. Again, no answers. Because again, these SOPs, sir, these SOPs haven't been developed with any thought and consideration to the consequences. And I say to members opposite, think about putting this through regulation, think about having a consultation period with those in the industry, and oh, you do. So Mr Mallard agrees with me on that. So I thank Mr Mallard for acknowledging that his colleagues were wrong. That 1, 2, 3 Muppets were wrong. Ian Lees-Galloway sitting at the back. You're wrong. Where's Ruth Dyson? She's wrong. Mr. Mallard. Mr. Chair.
I call the Honourable Member Sam Pisata, Sam Lotu-Iiga.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So I just want to hear Mr. Mallard, rather than coming in this House and embarrassing his three colleagues, to actually pick up the phone again, and tell these guys withdraw the SOPs because they are superfluous and they are redundant and they don't make sense and they weren't thoughtfully considered. Sir, I now move to Mr. Mallard's SOP. SOP number 296. I now move where he states that there must be a minimum rate of return of 40% in 2014-15, increasing by 1% each year. And I say to the member,
Order.
And he's an experienced member, but he obviously hadn't thought this SOP through, because again, the government is able to make these through regulation. We've already signalled publicly that these will be changed by regulation, and most importantly, sir, and Mr. Mallard knows this, is that we've signalled our intention, but this is better done through consultation with the industry. And I think Mr. Mallard would accept that. So, sir, having said all that, I could go on about the SOPs that are tabled here. I've given you some clear examples. I've given this House and the public in New Zealand clear examples of why these SOPs haven't been thought through. They are redundant, superfluous, and I'm sorry, but they need to think about these before they come to the House again.
Mr. Chairman.
I call the Honourable Member Ian Lees-Galloway.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.